And I said, your hand's always broken. You ain't known for your punching power since you moved up from lightweight to welterweight. Why are you so sure you're going to do this?
Wild, because like if you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight.
For that, Floyd is the best fighter, in his era. And I feel like I'm the best fighter in my era.
Stephen A. Smith responded to Floyd Mayweather's call-out of Terence Crawford by arguing that boxing often downplays certain fighters while inflating others. He emphasized that Crawford deserves far more recognition for his skills and accomplishments, especially considering that Mayweather is no longer in his prime. For Smith, the focus should stay on Crawford's dominance and historic achievements, not on comparisons or hype that take away from his true greatness.
Think about what he had to say about you when he said, you're way better than Floyd Money Mayweather. I know you heard that he said that. What thoughts came to your mind when you heard that Canelo Alvarez said that about you?
Hey, that's a big compliment. He's been in the ring with both of us, so he would know, from his own experience. A lot of people, they can say this, they can say that, but there's only, a few people that can say they've been in the ring with Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather and give their own.
Shane Mosley drew a comparison between Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather, noting that Crawford is naturally the bigger man, carrying size and strength that Floyd never had at welterweight. He explained that this physical edge gives Crawford advantages Mayweather didn't possess. At the same time, Mosley praised Mayweather's unmatched technical sharpness and defensive brilliance, which enabled him to consistently outthink and outmaneuver larger opponents. In his view, Crawford's dominance leans on physicality, while Mayweather's legacy is built on pure skill and adaptability.
Who do you think's better out of those two, Crawford or Mayweather?
I think Crawford is better, bigger. Like he's actually he moved in weight class, and I would say Crawford is a better fight all around fighter. Mayweather's really good too, though. You can knock him as well. He's very talented. It would have been a tough fight, but I think Crawford would have had the edge over Mayweather because of the long arms and because it's bigger. You know what I'm saying? And he would have kept him at bay. It would have been hard for Mayweather to counter, maybe. But Mayweather's definitely a technician. I mean, like Crawford said, Mayweather has his era, and Crawford, this is his era.
In an interview with Ariel Help, Terence Crawford pointed out that Canelo Alvarez has a unique perspective. Having faced both him and Floyd Mayweather, Crawford emphasized that the circumstances of those fights were completely different. Mayweather met a young, inexperienced Canelo, while he challenged the fully established champion at 168 pounds. Despite giving up size, Crawford showcased both strength and skill to prevail against the bigger man. For him, Canelo's admission that he felt more power from Crawford only reinforces the notion that greatness is defined differently across eras, each with its own standards.
Cooking right there, because there was this thought, this prevailing thought that the smaller man always loses to the bigger man. This was repeated time and again throughout the fight week. And he proved that that's not the case. Again, I hope you all recognize this was a 168-pounder fighting a 147-pounder. He had one fight at 154 last August, was the undisputed king at 147, beating Errol Spence in July of 2023, came back the following year, fought Israel Madrimov at the soccer stadium in Los Angeles, and then did everything he could to get this fight, played his cards the right way, and there he was, standing face to face against Canelo Alvarez, who did seem for the longest time like he didn't want to take this fight, and because there was great risk involved, because not only is Terence Crawford one of the all-time best fighters in the history of the sport, he's smaller than him, so a lot of people would be like, oh, of course you're going to beat the smaller guy, right? But I think Canelo recognized, yeah, he might be smaller, but he's that damn good.
Trainer Greg Hackett offered a different perspective, arguing that Floyd Mayweather was the more complete fighter when he faced Canelo. To Hackett, Floyd's polished, disciplined, and unshakable style represented the pinnacle of mastery, something Crawford's explosive counters and adaptability don't quite match. While he acknowledged Crawford's achievements, Hackett stood firm that Mayweather's flawless execution from the opening bell to the final round remained.
The Floyd Mayweather that Canelo Alvarez fought.
Yeah.
In the last version of Terence Crawford that we've seen in the ring.
Yeah.
Who's the better fighter, Jay?
Of course you got to give it to Floyd. Floyd at that time, Ben, what's up? Floyd at that time versus Canelo was in total confidence. His skill set, his IQ, you know what I'm saying? Everything he do, he was just a complete fighter that night. But I feel like was up against a lot because he was fighting a guy that we knew something about, but we didn't know too much about. People don't understand how much a fighter could be thrown off by what he don't know. And the reason it throws you off is because you're actually learning about the fighter while you're in there. That's what Bud went up against that night. That's why he didn't look so great. To me, I could be wrong, but he didn't look so great to me because he was learning a lot about Madrimov while he was in there with Madrimov.
Max Kellerman dissected the contrast between Floyd Mayweather and Terence Crawford's career paths. He pointed out that once Floyd moved beyond lightweight, his matchups were carefully chosen, each fight strategically timed. Crawford, on the other hand, has shown a greater willingness to face whoever was available, often taking bigger risks with less hesitation. Kellerman emphasized that this doesn't take away from Mayweather's greatness, but it does underline Crawford's readiness to challenge himself across divisions even against dangerous opponents without the same regard for timing or advantage.
It's wild because, like, if you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight. He wiped out the junior lights, bring him. Lightweight, he jumps up to Jose Luis Castillo first thing. A lot of people think he lost the first fight, I didn't, but then he won the rematch. But once he left lightweight, he was careful about when he fought guys. So even though his resume is deeper with names, people remember, but he didn't want it with certain dudes at certain times. Crawford, we all witnessed, even though the resume is thin in certain ways, he wanted it with everyone the whole time. Yes. That makes a difference to people.
Terence Crawford boldly stated that if he ever met a prime Floyd Mayweather in the ring, he believes he would come out on top. He clarified that his words weren't meant as disrespect, but as confidence in his own abilities. While acknowledging Floyd's legendary skills, Crawford highlighted his own versatility, power, and switch-hitting style as decisive factors. To him, it's not about diminishing Mayweather's legacy, it's about embracing the competitive spirit that defines true boxing.
Who do you think wins in a fight, you or Prime Floyd?
Me.
No questions?
Why would you think that I would say Floyd? You know, that's one of my favorite fighters. But yeah, nah.
Well, also if we remember, Canelo that time was a razor-thin decision. Floyd won, majority decision. C.J. Ross had it with what a lot of people had as a draw. And then the other two judges scored it for Floyd, of course. And that was a Floyd at the top of his game with a very green Canelo with very little experience, and he still took him, into deep waters. So
what was Canelo? What, 20-something? 20 what? 23, 25?
Yeah, he was. Very, very young in the game, obviously.
Very young. He had more fights than Floyd, and he lost.
Yeah, but
a man that was 30-something years old, 36.
But Floyd was clearly at the top of his career, and Canelo had fought a lot of people. But
how you at the top of your career in your prime? You in your prime? You ain't in your prime when you're at 36. That's not your prime.
Did he lose? I mean,
your prime is in your 20s.
It's different for different people.
Yeah, okay. Well, show, and that's why Canelo is saying what he's saying.
Want to
make himself look like he did something great.
Jeff Mayweather, Floyd's uncle, reminded fans that when Floyd faced Canelo, he was already past his prime, older, slower, and no longer the razor-sharp fighter who once ruled the lighter divisions. Floyd still used his experience and timing to school Canelo. Jeff argues this key detail is often ignored when people compare Crawford's win over Canelo to Floyd's. For him, context matters. Floyd was fading, while Crawford is still at his peak, making direct comparisons unfair. In Jeff's view, both deserve respect, but their victories came under very different...
70,482 people showed up for this fight. But the biggest props of the night goes to Terence Crawford, who did not disappoint. He was supposed to be the smaller man. He was supposed to be the weaker man. He was supposed to be the man that was going to spend the entire night on his bicycle, running for his damn life because Saul Canelo Alvarez was coming his way. That is not what happened. What happened instead, ladies and gentlemen, it was just severely lopsided and stuff like that. I'm not going for that. I'm not feeling that at all. It wasn't like that at all, okay? I had the fight 5-4 in favor of Terence Crawford after 9 rounds. It could have gone either way. And then he basically put on a boxing clinic over the last 3 rounds of the fight. And one rounds 10, 11, and 12. He used his jab. He kept his distance. He exchanged when necessary, which is something that I was scared to death of him doing. But he wasn't scared at all.
Stephen A. Smith hailed Terence Crawford's triumph over Canelo Alvarez as one of the most thrilling performances in recent memory. He highlighted how Crawford, though the smaller man, showcased supreme skill and composure to dominate a much bigger opponent. For Stephen A., the bout proved that Crawford not only possesses elite talent but also the rare ability to turn a fight into a spectacle, reaffirming why boxing needs champions who deliver both mastery and excitement.
Terence Crawford versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. Who wins this fight? I'm going with Terence Crawford, and I don't think that's unpopular or crazy to say. I think most people will agree with me. I understand Floyd Mayweather has a lot of fans out there, but the truth is, as great as Floyd Mayweather is, Terence Crawford is one of one. And I say that because who else has knockout power in both hands, is able to switch stances between orthodox and southpaw so seamlessly while having great footwork? It's not like Terence Crawford is some stationary target or a flat-footed fighter that's going to be chasing Floyd around. Terence Crawford knows how to cut the ring off. He has tremendous ring IQ. And not only is he a great boxer, but he's a great fighter. He'll be able to make it dirty. If he is on the inside with Floyd, that power will carry him far. And I just don't see how Floyd will be able to beat a Terence Crawford. I really don't see it. I understand Floyd's defense is incredible, but he is smaller than Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford would have a significant reach advantage on Floyd Mayweather. I believe Terence Crawford would also be taller than Floyd Mayweather, as well as all the skillful and technical aspects of what I just laid out prior. So I don't understand how anybody could pick Floyd Mayweather to beat Terence Crawford. Styles make fights, and I believe Terence has the style to beat one Floyd Mayweather. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Whether you agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. Join the discussion, subscribe for more, and leave a like if you enjoyed the time spent. Thank you. You are all appreciated.